Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, and in this video I am going to talk about the etymology of English language, means the origin of English language. We are the students of English literature, but before understanding the history of English literature and its development, we should understand the origin of English language, that how it was originated, and about the development of English language first before getting into the development of English literature. But before starting the video, I must tell you all that friends, don't download any video of the channel. Try to give it full-time watch hours so that it will help me to complete my 4K watch hours within 12 months. And if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, then do subscribe it and hit the bell icon for the latest updates of the videos. And if my videos are helpful for you all, then do like, comment and share with your all friends. So before starting the video, I must tell you that this is not a scripted video. It means that I am randomly speaking as I do in my classes. If you don't know about my classes, then I must tell you that I am taking a class for English literature students who are preparing for CUET 2023. My classes are running on from October month, but for new students, I am also giving some revision batches on Sundays. My classes are from Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday, 4 days in a week for regular classes and 1 day, that is Sunday, for revision batch. And one thing I must tell you that PDFs of the notes and topic wise test papers are given to the students for their practice and for revision in the class. So if you want to join the class, then you can join the class by clicking on the link that has been given in comment box and description box as well. So you can join the Telegram link and then you can message me individually on English Education Times, and then you can ask further details about the class or further pieces of information. You can understand that how you can join with the classes. So now come to today's topic. Today's topic is Proto-Indo-European family and the origin of English language. So first of all, I must tell you that there are several languages that come in Proto-Indo-European. Excuse me if I am telling something wrong grammatically or something like that, then forgive me, because I have already said that I am not recording this particular audio using scripted writing. Like, I have just not written any kind of script before it. I am just randomly speaking as I do in my class. So first of all, this is a family of languages that is Proto-Indo-European. Why it has been written as Indo-European? Because we all know that we are in Asian continent. So why not Asian European continent? No, it is Indo because we know that India was the origin of many languages, and it was subcontinent because we have so many countries in our ancient times, that is Afghanistan, Myanmar, Pakistan, Bangladesh and all. So we were a huge country. Okay, we have our own tradition, we have our own identity, that is Indian identity, and that is why most of the time when we refer to eastern side of the world, then we try to get it through Indian or Indic or Indo kind of prefix we use, so that we have to get identity of Indo. So they are saying Indo-European means the first continent is Indian continent and the second one is European continent. Okay, they have not used Asian because very later part, when these countries were separated, then they formed Asian continent. So that is why it is used as Proto-Indo-European. Okay, so in this family, it is a huge family of languages. We have so many languages in this group, in this family, like Indo-Iranian, Greek, Italic, Germanic, Albanian, Slavic, Celtic and Baltic. So first of all, I must tell you that there are so many languages which I have not mentioned because these are not important for our studies. The languages that I have mentioned, these languages are very significant for our studies, and these are somewhat familiar with us, like Indo-Iranian, Greek. We know about Greek, we know Italic, we know Germanic. So that is why I have mentioned it. So when we talk about Indo-Iranian, so it has been divided into two parts. The first one is Indic and the second one is Iranian. Iranian was a language from which Old Persian was originated. So we can say that Old Persian was a language of sub-language of Iranian language. And the second one is Indic. We know Indic languages like Sanskrit, Pali, Hindi, Gujarati, Rajasthani, Bengali, and many more. We have so many languages. Our country is full of language and its diversity. The second one is Greek. We know Greek is the language of Greece, and Macedonia is the capital of Greece. Alexander the Great was a Greek hero. Okay, we know Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, all are Greek ancient classics. Second one is Italic. We know Italy is a capital of Rome, and this Italic is a language from Rome, from which Old Latin was originated. We know that Latin was the language of Rome, right? Roman Empire. And from Old Latin, there is another language that originated, we can say developed, that is Latin. Latin was a great classic language, and now it is an extinct language, but still it has a great significance over the English writers. So that is why to mention Latin language was very important in this family. From Latin language, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. So we know about these countries that French is the language of France, Italian is the language of Italy, or we can say Rome, and Portuguese is the language of Portugal, and Romanian is the language of Romania. So all these languages have been developed from Latin language. Okay, I think this is the new point that you have learned. In our English literature, Latin, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian, all these are important, like in Anglo-Norman period. So we should read about the French influence as well. So that is why you should understand that why there is a significance of learning origin of languages. The second one is Germanic, very important for English literature student, because from Germanic language there are three dialects came: East Germanic, North Germanic, and West Germanic. These all are dialect. I must tell you what is the difference between dialect and a language. Dialect is a form of language which is spoken by certain groups of people in society, means certain social group of people at certain place. Language is a very wide term, and dialect is a form of language. Language is something which is very significant, which has some conventional way of speaking. People are speaking and even writing it by using its grammatical structures. But when we talk about dialect, dialect does not mean that it should have proper grammatical structure for writing and script for writing and speaking. Second thing, it is actually spoken in not very wide range. It has been used by certain social groups of people at certain places. So that is the difference between dialect and language. So these are East Germanic, North Germanic, and West Germanic were dialects first. Like East Germanic means that is spoken in the eastern side of Germany, right? So it seems to be dialect. So from East Germanic there is a language, Gothic language came. We know this term Gothic very well. And we have Mary Shelley, Frankenstein, okay, 1817 I guess. So Gothic novels, Gothic era. So from this language we just remember this particular term, right? So it has been evolved from East Germanic. Then we have North Germanic. From North Germanic dialect, then it transformed into language, but first it was dialect. So from North Germanic there were three languages that developed: Norway, that is the language of Norway, then Swedish, the language of Sweden, and Danish, the language of Denmark. Okay, and then the most important one for English literature student, that is West Germanic. West Germanic is the language of Western Germany. We can say dialect, but later on it was transformed into language, because we can see how these languages were evolved from these two particular dialects. So West Germanic dialect evolved into two dialects, Anglo-Frisian and German. So when we talk about Anglo-Frisian, so it is actually a dialect from which Old English language and Old Frisian language developed. We should understand about Old English, Middle English and English language. We should not bother about Old Frisian and other languages much. So Old English language was actually evolved after getting mixed with Brittonic language of Celtic people. Okay, when these two get merged with each other, Anglo-Frisian and Brittonic, then a new kind of language evolved, that is Old English. Because we know that in Anglo-Saxon period, these people of Germanic tribe, Angles, Saxons and Jutes, these three tribes actually defended Britons. Britons were the original inhabitants of England, and there was a king named as Vortigern. He invited three Germanic tribes, that is Angles, Saxons and Jutes, to come and to defend their own land, because they had been consistently facing the attacks of Scottish tribe, Scots and Picts. Before Angles, Saxons and Jutes, there was a Roman Empire which was ruling over England. But what happened after their civil war, something that happened in Rome, they went back to their own homeland, and England was remained with its Breton king. When it was happening there, Scottish tribe, Scots and Picts were consistently attacking on Britain. So they were not enough to defend themselves. That is why Vortigern, the king of Britons, he invited three Germanic tribes to come and to defend them. So the three Western Germanic tribes, Angles, Saxons and Jutes, they went to defend England and they never came back. They settled there. Okay, and that is why they ruled over the England, and these period from 450 to 1066 AD, they ruled over England, and that is why this period is considered as Anglo-Saxon period. So when Anglo-Frisian dialect of these Western Germanic tribe get mixed with the native people language, that is Brittonic, both of them language mixed and formed a new kind of language, that is Old English language. And the literature which has been written in this Old English language is considered as Old English literature. Okay. Then there was a Middle English period, and English means there were the three phases of the development of English language. First, when it was formed, it is considered as Old English language. Then it was actually get mixed with another language, that is French, because after Anglo-Saxon period there was an Anglo-Norman period came, means when Normans, the northern France people, they attacked on England, and basically they were known as nomadic people, that is they came from Normandy. So when they came with their own influence of French language and French tradition. So now English language get mixed with some kind of French words as well, and there were certain mixture of other languages as well. So here the development of Middle English, that is from Old English it became Middle English, because the development was in middle in phase. Okay, first it was ancient, that is old, then it was in middle in phase, and then after uses, when it became the perfect language of English people without any invasion, without any temperament, then it became English that we know, that is also known as modern English form. Okay, so this was all about the development of English language. We should understand it because significantly it is related with your English literature as well. Okay, which like literature which has been written in Old English period or in Old English language, it is known as Old English literature. When it came in Middle English phase, so the literature which has been written in Middle English period and Middle English language considered as Middle English literature, and then it was in modern English. Okay, then talking about German dialect. So German is a particular language. First, from German language there was a two dialect: High German, Middle German, and Low German and Old Saxon. Okay, from Middle German three languages actually evolved: Swiss, language of Switzerland; German, the language of Germany; and Yiddish. Yiddish is a language of Jews. So when I tell you that Yiddish is the language of Jews, so you will ask me that what is the difference between the language of Jews, that is Hebrew, and Yiddish. So first I must tell you that it is older than Yiddish language, And second one is that Yiddish is a language which was developed because of the Jews trading part, means when they were traveling to other parts of the Europe, and when they had to trade, so this language was actually formed, okay, and developed. It has some Hebrew words as well. Okay, so this was used by Jewish people who were actually settled in Germany, and then they moved to other parts, okay, apart from Israel. And when we talk about Low German, so from Low German there was an old Saxon, and then Dutch language was evolved, and Dutch is the language of Netherlands. Okay, then we talk about Celtic language. You should have heard about this Celtic people, Celtic language in English literature as well. So from where this Celtic word came? So actually Celtic was the language of the family of Proto-Indo-European. Later on it was developed into three major language: Gaulish, Guadelic, and Brittonic, or we can say Brittonic. So there was a Gaulish language, then Guadelic. Guadelic is an important one because from this language Old Irish, Middle Irish, and Irish language form. So what we know today, that Irish is the language of Ireland, so it was actually formed from Guadelic. Then second one is Brittonic, or we can say Brittonic. Whatever you want to tell, you can say. So Brittonic is the language actually of Britons. The Britons were the original inhabitant of England from Stone Age. Okay, so this Britons were the original inhabitant, and their language was known as Brittonic or Brittonic. So Brittonic or Brittonic, this language was actually the sub part of Celtic language. That is why in whole we can say Celtic people or Celtic language. Okay, so this Brittonic language actually later on evolved into three important languages, that is Cornish, Welsh, and Breton. So we can say that Welsh, W-E-L-S-H, Welsh is the language of Wales, W-A-L-E-S, Wales. We know that there is a sub part of England that is known as Wales, which was inhabited and ruled by Breton king even after the invasion of Angles, Saxons, and Jutes over England. And there was a very good poet known as Dylan Thomas. He is known as Welsh poet or Welsh poet because in his work Welsh language and Welsh scenery, imagery, and setting was described. Okay, so that is why we can say that Welsh is the language of Wales, and must remember Dylan Thomas is an important poet from Welsh identity. When we talk about Wessex, it is also a part of England, and when we talk about the poet of Wessex, that is Thomas Hardy or novelist of Wessex, means there is a literary figure which has been associated with particular places. The first one is Dylan Thomas from Welsh and Thomas Hardy from Wessex. Then we talk about Breton. So we know that Breton is a language, and from Brittonic language it has been evolved. Then it comes Baltic language. Baltic is the language of Indo-European family, and from it Persian language was evolved. We know that Old Persian was evolved from Iranian language, and there is another language that was formed, that is Baltic language or Baltic, whatever you want to pronounce it, Baltic language or Baltic language. So from it the Persian language was evolved. So in this today's lecture we have discussed about Proto-Indo-European etymology. I hope it was comprehensible for you all to understand the things very clearly. If you have any kind of problem, you can ask me here in the comment box, and stay connected for the new upcoming video about English literature origin. Thank you so much for joining. Do subscribe and share with your friends.